Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am Mr. Kadim Khan and I am a lecturer in the Institute of Computing, Kuwait University of Science and Technology. Today we will take lecture number 18 of the subject of visual programming, where we will discuss how to add the external libraries into C#.NET. And here we will implement the examples of the text-to-speech library. Dear students, it is very much important to understand the libraries concepts in C#.NET. We have a lot of libraries used in C#.NET, and these libraries have certain built-in classes and functions which can be used for our projects. So in this examples, we are converting a text-to-speech program, and here we will use a certain libraries. This is the discussion of the today's class agenda. It contains topics of the base class library in C#.NET. Then we have text-to-speech program in the C#.NET. Then we have multiple steps used for implementing the libraries, where we will perform how to download the system.speech.dll library, then importing the system.speech.dll library into Visual Studio.NET, and then we have to include the system.speech reference files through the Solution Explorer. And at the end, we have a practical example in the Visual C#.NET for the implementing the text-to-speech program. Dear students, we have multiple libraries in C#.NET. These libraries contains different functions, and these functions are accessed through the objects of the classes. So in the .NET libraries, if you are using the .NET Standard 2.0, then it is can be called by any .NET implementational libraries, including the .NET frameworks and the supporting .NET Framework 2.0. And if we are using the targeted .NET 5, then it can be called by any applications that target .NET 5. So we have to download certain libraries that are according to our .NET framework. Now we have latest .NET framework, that is Visual Studio 2019. So we can use the .NET 5 as well. Now there are multiple built-in libraries in the C#.NET. These are called base class libraries. For example, system.web, which is used for the ASP.NET programming. Similarly, we already use system.windows.form library used for visual programming. Then we have system.drawing library used to draw text and other objects like drawing the lines, ellipses, other objects on the forms. Similarly, we have system.data libraries used for defining the data objects, which is used to develop the database applications. Similarly, system.xml libraries, and this library used for the extensive markup language. For example, when we want to create the WPF programs, then we will create the system.xml libraries. And we have the top libraries, which is called system library. It contains multiple libraries. So for example, for the filing purpose, we use the IO library, input output libraries. Similarly, we can for multi-threading purpose, we use the threading libraries. So these are multiple libraries used in .NET framework. But here we will import our external libraries into .NET framework. So for external library, we are taking the example of text-to-speech program in the graphical user interface. For this purpose, we will import the system.speech.synthesis libraries. So here we are following multiple steps to import these libraries. First of all, we need to download this library. So this links is used to download this library. If you click on this links, this page will be opened. So here, download and install system.speech.dll libraries. So just click on this buttons. Meanwhile, the download will start. So already I have downloaded my libraries. Then after downloading, open Visual Studio.NET and click on the references. You need to right click on the references, then click on the add references to add the library. Then you have to locate the DLL files. For example, my library is system.speech.dll. So locate the DLL files and click on the add buttons. When you will click the add button, then the solution explorer will add that library. So system.speech.dll files, that is the system.speech library, will be added now in the solution explorer. You can see it here. So before importing it, you will not be able to see it. Now after importing this library will be listed in the library sections, which is the references section of the Visual Studio. Now if your Visual Studio already contains the system.speech, then you will go to the Solutions Explorer, right click on the Solutions Explorer, add the references, then this dialog box will appear, and in the .NET section search the system.speech by just dragging down this text, this list box. So system.speech will be here. Click on OK. You will be able to add this library into your references section of the Solution Explorer. Now this is the code of our projects. Here, first of all, you need to import using system.speech.synthesis library into your project. So using system.speech.synthesis library will be imported here. Then on the button click event, for example, you want to convert the text to speech program. So you need to design this code. So private void button one underscore click, which is the event when it will be created when you will click on the buttons, and object sender is the reference of the object which is sending the event, which is in fact in this here in this example here it is button 1, and event ERGSE represents the keyboard of events. For example, if certain key is correct, then E dot character function will represent the event. So we do not need these objects. You can even that unfilled this, you can leave them, but automatically this event will be created by the Visual Studio. Now system speech synthesizer, new speech synthesizer. Here we have created our object of synthesizer. So speech synthesizer is the class which is implemented in the system.speech.synthesis library. Then we have our object is equal to new speech synthesizer, which is the constructor. This constructor will be called when the object is instantiated. Then synthesizer.volume is equal to 100. It can be from the 0 to 100. Then synthesizer.rate minus 2. Volume represents the volume of the speech, and rate represents the rate of the speech, means that how many words can be spoken in per unit time. So that is minus 2 means 2 words will be spoken. Synthesis.speech text box 1.text. So this strings will be taken from the text box and it will be spoken on the speaker. So synthesis.speech speak well, speak the text on the speaker. Now dear students, we will implement this example. So for this purpose, click on the escape buttons to exit the slides. So I have clicked on the escape button. First I need to download this library. I have already downloaded the library, and this is in the download section of my computer. So in the download section I clicked, this is system.speech.zip file has been downloaded. Right click and extracts here. You need to extract. You will see that system.speech.dll has been extracted, and also dll.txt, which is the help file. So system.speech.dll has been extracted. Now I will open a Visual Studio. So click on the Visual Studio from the start menu. So just click here. Now meanwhile Visual Studio will be launched. This is the flash screens of the Visual Studio 2019, and now the Visual Studio is going to be launched for us. Now you can see that Visual Studio is creating the project for us. Here click on the create new projects. Click here for creating the new project. And next you need to provide the project name. You will see that now the project is creating for us. Here select the Windows application, Windows application. So I need to create the Windows application. That's why I have typed here the Windows application. Now you can see that the Windows Form application has been appeared here. So click on next. After clicking the next, the project name, the project has been created now. So I will type the name of the project. So this is my project is text to speech project. This is text to speech project. Click on create button. After clicking the create button, Visual Studio is now creating the Windows application for me, and the name of the project will be text to speech project. Now meanwhile, the Visual Studio will create the application for me. Now you can see that the Windows application has been created. First of all, I will design my form for the project. So I need one button. So just I drag drop one buttons controls from the toolbox. Then I also needs a text box. So here I will search the text box. There is the text box controls, and also I need one label. The label will prompt the user what they have to perform. So now I need to design the form. So click on this label and go to the property dialogs to change its properties. So here I will type that enter a text to speak. So text to text to speak. Now the text will be spoken here. So next I will also change the another properties of the other controls here. So click on this text box, just increase the size of the text box and click here and go to the multi-line property, make it true. Now multi-line property has been selected, and now you can see that the text box is now in the multi-line format. Next, click on these buttons and go to the property dialogs. Click on this. Now I will write let's speak. So this will speak the text. So now this will be now be able to speak the text. I can redesign my form so that it may look quite fine. Okay, now to change the font or text properties, I select all controls. So click on the font, and after clicking the font, click on this small buttons, make it bold. For example, click on bold and click on 12. So this will be the 12 font. Now you can see that the font has been changed. Also resize this button. If you want to change the text property of the color property of this two control, click on the far colors, and for example I want to make it deep green. So now you can see that this is now deep green. Okay, now I need to click this button, so that's why I will create the click event of this button. For creating the click event, just double click here. So when you will click here, you will see the code here. So this is the click event. Now also I need to import the library, so click on the solution explorers and then expand this the library section. You cannot see the system.speech library here, so just right click on the reference, click and on the add reference, go to the browse and click on the browse buttons. When you will click on the browse button, go to the download sections. Download section, here is the system.speech.dll which I have downloaded. So just locate this file and click on OK. So meanwhile, you can see that system.speech library has been imported here. Now double click on it so that the event is created. First, I need to import the libraries. So I will type here using system.speech.synthesizer. Synthesis. This is the library which I have important here. Now come down into the code. Here, first of all, you need the synthesizer objects. So just type here system dot speech dot synthesis. So I need to implement the synthesizer here. So I will write the synthesizer objects. So I need the speech synthesizer here. So speech synthesizer. For example, S is the object is equal to new speech synthesizer. Now I have created the object of the speech synthesizer. Then next is I need to set the volume. So S dot volume is equal to, for example, full volume, that is 100. So I will type here 100. Next is S dot rate. Rate means that the words spoken per unit time. So it is -2. Now S dot speech. Speak function will speak the text. So S dot speak, what types of text will be spoken? This will taken from the text box control. So we have only one text box dot text. So this text will be spoken. Now the code has been completed. Now I need to compile the code here. So this was our code which is now taken from the slides. Now you can see that the event will be called when this button is clicked and the code will be implemented. So I have completed all my code here. So just click on this green button to execute the program. So I have clicked on this green button. Now meanwhile the program execution will be starts. Now you can see that program is compiling and the output will be created for you. So the meanwhile Visual Studio is in fact compiling the program and it will create the output. So now the output is now created. You can see that here is the output. The output has been appeared now. So what you will type here, the computer will speak that text. So for example, I want to type that Institute of Computing. So Institute of Computing is my text. So when you will click this button, the computer will speak this text.
Institute of Computing.
You have here the output here. For example, you can change the text here. For example, Cohort University of Science and Technology. This is a text. Now
Kohat University of Science and Technology.
Now you have seen that I have imported a library from the external source, and then I have imported that library into Visual Studio.net, and then I have implemented that library and called that library into my code. So this was an example of converting the text to speech program. Dear student, you should implement another program as well for your good practice. And also, if you have any question, you can ask this question through the email, that is m.kadim@kust.edu.pk. And you should also read these two books for further exploring the topics. And I will wait for your questions. Thank you very much.